Hello, welcome to Best Recaps. Today we will talk about a movie called The Guest from the year 2014. Then we see a woman named Laura Peterson. She mourns the loss of her son Caled, a soldier who died in the Afghanistan war. Laura seems quite sad, but she soon receives a visit from a man named David Collins, a former sergeant in the U.S. Army who claims to be a close friend of Caleb. Laura invites him inside, and later David tells her that he ran to her house from the town station. The purpose of his visit is a promise he made to her son Caled. He promised to come to their house and tell his family how much he loved them. Laura asks for a moment, and she cries upon hearing what the man has told her, which makes David feel guilty for making her sad, and he apologizes, leaving the house. Instead, Laura thanks David for the gesture of conveying Khaled's message and invites him to stay at her house for as long as he wants. While Laura and David chat casually, her daughter Anna, who is sleeping in her room, wakes up and says goodbye to her mother to go to work. Laura introduces David to her. She greets him but is somewhat distant. Anna asks where he will stay, and Laura informs her that David will be staying with them from now on. Anna decides to go to the restaurant where she works. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Caleb's younger brother, Jean-Luc, is at school about to change classes. He is a quiet student and quite reserved. He is always bullied by a group of boys at school. Before going home, the bullies slam Luke into the lockers at school and insult him. He walks to his mom's car, which came to pick him up that day. When he gets home, David introduces himself to him as a friend of his brother Kyle. Upon seeing the slight bruise on the boy's face, David asks him how he got it. Meanwhile, his parents argue because Spencer, Laura's husband, is not sure about letting David stay in their house. However, after a while, Spencer greets David kindly and allows him to stay there for as long as he wants. Elsewhere, Anna talks to her boyfriend. He seems concerned about her brother's new friend who arrived unannounced at their house. Anna tells David that she hopes he won't stay for too long but found him to be a nice guy. However, she mentions that her parents are still hurt by her brother's death and fears that David might reopen that wound. Later, Luke tries to explain his homework to David, but he doesn't seem to understand much. After they finish talking, Spencer and David have a long conversation over beer, and Spencer tells him about a problem he had at work. The next day, Luke is surprised that David picks him up from school. David asked Luke if he had any friends, and Luke replied that he only had online friends. David didn't believe what Luke told him about the bruises on his face and asked him to show him who had beaten him up. Luke then shows the group of students who always intimidate him at school. He mentions that they are jerks and always make fun of him. Then, Luke asks David to leave. David starts the truck, but he follows the bullies to a bar. Luke tells him that they always go there because they serve alcohol to the guys on the school football team. David mentions that he wouldn't mind a drink, so he invites Luke to have something to drink. Of course, something non-alcoholic. Luke is hesitant at first, but gathers the courage to go inside. When the guys see them enter, they start mocking Luke. Initially, David asks the bartender to give the students several expensive drinks, as he thinks it's a shame for them to drink such cheap. But because the bullies felt insulted and offended, they approach David and spill the drink on him. David seems quite angry and gives the guys a lesson. The bartender is about to call the police, but David uses his knowledge of the law and convinces the bartender not to report his actions at the bar, as the bartender was also serving alcohol to the kids. After that, he tells Luke that he will never let anyone bother him. When they get home, Luke's mom is worried to see her son bruised. Luke tells her that some older boys bullied him. David assures her that he's okay and that these kinds of fights are typical. He also assures her that no one saw anything, so he won't be expelled from school. He offers to teach him self-defense whenever he wants. Anna laughs, and Laura thanks David for being there during the fight. Anna gets up and mentions that she'll get ready for a Halloween party. Laura tells her daughter that they need to talk about something important in the kitchen. There, her mom asks Anna to invite David to the party because he seems quite lonely and her brother would have loved it. Anna invites him and David accepts. She asks him to get ready to leave at 7. Later, Anna asks Luke to open the bathroom door because she needs to shower. However, upon opening the door, he finds out that David was in the bathroom, creating an awkward moment. Once they are ready, they both go to the Halloween party. David is surprised because he didn't know she had a boyfriend. Anna tells him that her parents didn't know either, so she asks him not to tell them. David promises not to say anything. Then Anna introduces him to her friends and her boyfriend, Sick. Since David made a good impression on Anna's friends, they initially like him, especially her friend Christine, with whom he talks. In the middle of the party, Christine's ex-boyfriend arrives and causes a scene because he refuses to leave until Christine pays attention to him. The guy seems to become violent, and seeing this, David hits him hard against the wall, breaking a picture of Christine. After this, Christine is attracted to David, and his heroic actions lead her to take him to her room and have fun together. After chatting with Christine, David approaches Gray, a friend of Anna, and asks if he can get him a gun. He does this because he knows that Anna's boyfriend's sick and Craig sells drugs. However, Craig asks him why David needs a gun. He tells him that he's a soldier and soldiers love guns. Craig says he knows a guy and will introduce him, asks for his number, and David tells him he uses a prepaid phone, and the number is on the back of his phone. Craig then asks David to prepare the money. After arranging a meeting with Craig and the arms dealer, David notices that Anna is having an argument with her boyfriend, so they decide to head home. David asks Anna to drive since she is too high to do so. During the trip, Anna confides in David about her argument with her boyfriend, and David just listens. Later, David tells her that the music playing on her car stereo is very good, and Anna offers to make a mix CD for David. The next day, Anna overhears David on the phone and hears a rather strange conversation in which David apparently tells someone that he is hiding and that there are people trying to find him. Suspicious, she contacts the military base to confirm David's identity. The military promises to investigate David Collins and share information with Anna. Soon, a private company called KPG, led by Major Carver, learns that David Collins is alive. Apparently, the real David Collins died a long time ago, and the one now living in the Petersons' house is someone else in disguise, but his purpose for disturbing the family is unknown. The scene then shifts to show David. He is about to buy a gun from Craig's friend after showing him the money. The smuggler shows him all the guns he has brought. David decides to buy them all and, to leave no loose ends, decides to kill the two men. On the other hand, Spencer arrives home and learns that he got his job because his boss died mysteriously. Anna receives information from the military base telling her that David is an imposter. Anna also receives news that her boyfriend's friend is dead and that he has now been arrested because they believe her boyfriend did it. She tells her parents everything and also mentions that David is an imposter, but her father doesn't believe her words, commenting that he had always known her boyfriend was a drug dealer. Anna is upset but intends to prove her suspicions about David by stealing his cell phone and taking a photo of the list of recent numbers he has called. Later, David accompanies Luke to make pumpkin heads, and there he shows him that he always has a sharp knife with him just in case. He decides to give it to him so he can defend himself against the kids who bully him. The next day, Anna asks her younger brother to find out which number David had dialed on his cell phone. Luke is bullied again at school, but this time, he defends himself. They call his mom for his misbehavior, and the principal warns her that he will be expelled. But David threatens the principal and tells him that if they expel him, they will sue the school. The principal gets scared, so Luke is saved from being expelled. The following day, David, who was helping Laura dry the clothes, enters the house to retrieve the rest of the laundry and hang it up. After his departure, Major Carver and his special forces appear at Laura's house and ask her about David. Laura mentions that David is inside the house, and David immediately attacks Carver and his men. A shootout between the special forces and David ensues. Carver tries to protect Laura, but she escapes inside the house. David is shot in the thigh, but quickly tends to the wound and eliminates all the members of the special forces except for Carver. David discovers Laura hiding in the kitchen. She seemed confused about the people who wanted to kill him, so she asks David what they were doing there. David didn't answer her question. He just told her one thing, that he did, in fact, know her son, to leave no loose ends. He stabs Laura with the kitchen knife and drives away in Laura's truck. On the way, David sees Spencer in the distance. He knows he can't leave anyone alive, so he fastens his seatbelt and crashes his car. He gets out of it and kills Spencer by shooting him. Carver follows David's trail. Even though his car's tire is flat, he discovers that David's car had an accident, but his whereabouts are unknown. He asks a passing man for his car and decides to pick up Anna. When they arrive at her restaurant, Carver tells Anna that they have to go get Luke to ensure his safety before David finds them first. Just as Anna leaves with Carver, David arrives at the restaurant and decides to shoot Kristen because she knows too much about him, and to leave no witnesses. He throws 2 grenades into the restaurant, causing a massive explosion. Anna tries to contact her brother, but he was getting everything ready for a Halloween party at his school with his teacher. The teacher takes away his cell phone as punishment, and Anna can't reach him. Patrol cars approach, and Carver informs Anna about her parents' death, revealing that David was a test subject in a military medical experiment. He has been programmed to kill anyone who can endanger his identity. It's unlikely he will stop even if he wants to. Carver and Anna arrive at Luke's school before he does and enter a haunted house prepared for Halloween. Carver announces that he is an officer and that they need to find Luke. They are guided through the maze of the house by a microphone. They find Luke cleaning the place, but then all the lights suddenly go out, and David plays the mix CD Anna gave him. David kills Luke's teacher, and Carver tells them to go. He will take care of everything, but Carver cannot stop David. He pursues him, and David finally kills him. On the other hand, Anna and Luke find the exit, but David has chained it shut. Luke says he doesn't know what's happening, but he knows David won't harm them. Anna then tells Luke to hide while she confronts David. At first, Luke refuses, but Anna tells him that he killed their parents. Finally, Luke obeys his sister's words and hides. David taunts them, saying he deeply regrets doing this. Anna confronts David and shoots him with Carver's gun. The smoke prevents her from seeing that David has gone, so David manages to attack her from behind, stabbing her leg. Anna falls to the ground, and David tries to strangle her as a stray bullet from Anna ignites a fire. In the midst of chaos, Luke appears behind David and stabs him with the knife David gave him. He frees Anna, and Luke tells her not to worry because he did the right thing, and she shouldn't feel bad. It seems that David is now dead. Soon the police arrive at the school accompanied by ambulances and firefighters. Anna and Luke are rescued and appear very traumatized by the incident. As they rest sitting in the ambulance, they overhear the firefighters saying that they have only found 2 bodies and one of them is missing teeth. When several firefighters exit the school, Anna manages to see one of them limping. I hope you enjoyed the summary of the story.